Hey, it's Captain Matt, Boater's Secret Weapon, and we're here with fishing etiquette. If you're a fisherman, these are some things that you might think about. The first, and this was a huge pet peeve of mine, is fishermen that cast into boats at the dock. And I used to work at this marina. This is actually I would stand out on the dock early in the morning, and there would be a bass fisherman throwing his lure, trying to get under the dock. And inevitably, they would chink it right off the shiny gel coat of one of these cruisers. And sometimes there would be somebody sleeping inside. It is a absolute, you don't want people throwing rocks at your boat. Don't throw your lures with hooks onto boats. And inevitably, it gets on the dock. They yank it off because they can't get it. And now there's a hook sitting on the dock with all the bare feet. Or worse, you get it in their canvas if you're a really bad shot, in their carpet, in their upholstery. And it's just disrespectful. Please stop doing that. Next is fishing in the channel between bridges, under a bridge. Yes, I know there's great fishing under that bridge, and I know there's great fishing by the uprights and the supports. But if you're gonna fish at a bridge, make sure there's enough room for another boat to get by. Make sure it's not in the main traffic area, where this is the safe place to go through the bridge. Go somewhere where the water's a little shallower and make sure there's room for that other boat to come through and get through safely. Same thing with narrow channels. Now, I don't believe this is a boat actually fishing. I believe they're going into a marina. But if you're going to be fishing in a narrow channel area, again, be courteous to other boaters and make sure there's room for another boat to get by. Make sure that they have room and that they can safely get by. They're not going to be able to pay attention to your lines and the other obstructions in the area. Stay in the deep water if you're taking up a bunch of space. So be courteous and don't fish in a channel, but be courteous and be aware of your surroundings. And if you're in the very middle of the channel, taking up the water that the boats need to traffic through. Next is, I know bass boat guys, you love to go fast. It's fun to throw that throttle down and do it. Make sure that you keep an outstanding lookout. We had a death on our lake just a couple of weeks ago that a bass boat was cruising by, ran over a kayaker and just kept on trucking. They found the body 3 days later, a 45-year-old man. There's incidents of bass boat guys running over boats, and this isn't just bass boat guys, but anybody that's just hauling ass down the water. Make sure that if you're not just looking at what you're going to do on your phone. Make sure that you're keeping an eye out for everybody around and that you are going appropriate speeds for the conditions. Next, I came across this while I was putting this one together. I don't know what the hell happened here. I know this isn't about fishing, but I just needed to throw this in there because I knew I was never going to see it again. But how does that happen? I don't know. Don't let it happen to you. Check out Trailer Like a Pro. Next is fishing line. Please do not throw your fishing line in the water. Dispose of it properly. You'll find that there's these fishing line tubes in a lot of locations where you can put your fishing lines and your old hooks in there, and it keeps it out of the water. Because when you just throw it in the water, you pull off your hook and you just throw that tag in the water, it can easily get wrapped around a propeller. It can easily cause damage to your boat and to other boats, because that will cut into the gear casing, cause your gear lube to leak, and can be very, very expensive. Or it can end somebody's boating day if they aren't able to get that cut out and it gets really, really bad. Also, make sure you're throwing just your general trash away, but fishing line is the big one. Next, be courteous to your fellow fishermen. If you see somebody fishing a spot and they're catching some big ones, don't hail everybody on the radio and tell them, hey, let's all head over to this spot because they're catching the big ones. Make sure that you're courteous. Make sure that you're leaving an appropriate amount of space. Now, it's going to depend if you're on a lake, in a cove, if you're offshore, if you're in a shallow, if you're in the creeks. The location's going to vary dramatically. But if somebody's fishing and they're in a spot, be respectful. Don't go wake them out and scare all the fish. Don't call all your buddies and fish right on top of them. Don't cross lines. Don't cast into where their area is. Be respectful and be courteous. Just assume that you got there first and you found the honey hole. How would you like other boaters to respond to you? Next, if you're a cat fisherman, if you like to fish at night, light bars are fine if you're shining them right down at the water and you are doing them just a short period of time, and then you're turning them off as you get set. But the big light bars that are on the bow of the boat, and people are just sitting right in the middle of the channel. I had this happen to me several years ago at the Lake of the Ozarks. I was coming around mile marker probably 27 or so, around a bend where the new Margaritaville is, and there was a small flat bottom aluminum boat sitting there with a huge light bar. I could see it from about a mile away. As I got closer, I could not see anything. It was so bright. It's so dark out on the water at night, and it blinds other boaters. It's incredibly dangerous. If there was somebody else that was coming, I would have easily hit them, because there's no way I was going to see their red, green lights or their anchor lights. Light bars, be smart about it. Don't shine them in people's eyes. If you're going to light up the water to attract the fish, make sure you get one that's going to float and not cause dangers to your fellow boaters. Same thing with docking lights. Keep your docking lights off at night. This one, I've seen this happen a handful of times, is don't leave your trailer on the unloading ramp. This is an actual sign at an actual ramp. I have seen it in the off season. Ramps aren't that busy. A bass boat guy will just leave his truck and his trailer just right there on the water. I'm going to go out, fish for an hour over my lunch break, and I'm going to come right back. So to save time, I'm going to leave my rig lined up there. Well, guess what? If somebody else has that idea and you're there, or your truck's there and you're not, you're going to have some bad things happen to your truck in some areas. Be respectful. Put your boat and your truck and your trailer back in the parking lot between the lines, especially on busy days, and be respectful to your other boaters. Same thing at the boat ramp, is especially if you're fishing tournaments and there's a lot of people putting in. When you are on the dock, now this is okay in this situation, but when your boat's on the dock, push it as far back as it can go, or if there's a courtesy dock, even better. Put your boat on the courtesy dock so it frees up that space for the next person to get up, get their trailer, load up, because a lot of fishermen do go by themselves. Be quick about it. Keep your boat out of the way as much as possible or practicable. And again, it comes down to being courteous and respectful to others on the water and your fellow fishermen. If you found this valuable, give it a thumbs up. Check out the Boat Buyer's Toolkit if you're looking to buy a boat. Boater Bootcamp if you're a newer boat owner. You can get those both for free. And remember, life truly is better on a boat.